Hey, what's going on, Recruiter DNA crew? This is Recruiter Larry, and I'm actually bouncing some ideas and finalizing my thoughts for the SourceCon 2018 in Vegas. Hopefully you guys are going to be there. And so here's what I'm thinking. I'm not sure if this is even relevant to a lot of you, but as you may or may not know, I've been doing a lot of marketing, and I've always kind of gravitated towards the marketing and the digital marketing side of recruiting. So I wanted to go over and pick your brains and see if this was even interesting to everyone. So one part is about what I'm trying to teach or get across is search engine optimization for sourcing and recruiting. So for those of you who I'm sure you know, or you know what, maybe you don't know. I don't know why would you know? But when someone types something in Google, right? Like let's just say in-house recruiter jobs. I'm trying to pick something that's relevant to everyone here. So interesting, I forget, Google has their new Google job board, for lack of a better word, aggregator. So now if you type in the word jobs, they're going to pull their jobs there, which, by the way, as a side note, is knocking off the king here, Indeed.com. And as I don't know if you guys have realized this, I remember talking to some of the higher ups at Monster a while back, and Simply Hired. When I was at Zappos, Simply Hired, and we use Simply Hired, we use Indeed, and this was 3+ years ago. And on the back end, on the ATS, we could see obviously the source of application, source of hire, blah, 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 blah. And Indeed was killing it, right? I mean, poor Simply Hired, they were like, no, we'll give you, discounts, we'll give it to you for free. And it's like, we won't even take it for free because Indeed is killing it that much. Why is Indeed? Why did they go so far so fast? It was because of search engine optimization. They figured out very quickly when you type in anything and the word job, career, they were going to come up first, okay? And I don't know why LinkedIn and Monster and whoever else, Career Builder, didn't snap to that and go out and hire the best SEO people, but whatever. So now, guess who got into the game? Google. So anyway, search engine optimization just means, let's say a job description. Every job description that you post is a live website. And you've heard me go on about this before, but typically we get the job description, we cut and paste it, we find an old one. We don't put a lot of time in it. And really because there's not a lot of value in it, and because really we don't get a lot of great applicants from the job description. We're mostly just trying to please the hiring team and then get your leadership off your back and check the box. Yes, the job is posted. Other than that, there's a science behind optimizing your job descriptions, your career blog, so that when people are searching, they will find you. This is now the new real estate, okay? You can also pay to have your ad up here. I guarantee you, if we put in software engineer jobs, that someone better be advertising. So there you go right there. Now you got Boeing, the ladders, Indeed, right? They're running ads. So this is just a pay per click. In other words, hey, I don't have time to naturally get my listings here, what they call organically or naturally. So I'm just gonna pay for it. That's one way to do it. But, so I guess what I'm trying to teach recruiting, in-house recruiting firms, I'm going to borrow a slide off a webinar I did. So I want to go back real quick, and sorry this is going so long, but this is important. So let's just say there's 3 major stages that everyone goes through when making a life decision. I'm using the insurance, the USA Life Insurance or Insurance Talk, a life event, right? Getting married, graduating, getting married, anything big, buying a house, any big event, we tend to go through these stages. Now, sometimes all this can be done in 30 seconds, right? I need a toothbrush. Sometimes it's a big deal, and these can take months, or like in real estate, I'm learning, maybe even 2 years, this cycle. You can be somewhere in this cycle. For recruiters, depending on the market you're in, since we've had no marketing training, that's just not what we do. We tend to focus here on the decision stage, which means active candidates, right? That means, so let me go back. The one of them is the awareness stage. Do I even have a problem? And in past videos, you've heard me say, let's just say I'm a recruiter and I'm working for Google or whatever, Amazon, and I'm sitting there at my desk or working from home, and I'm not even, any ads. If there were headhunters or recruiters looking for me, I probably wouldn't even see them. It would be either spam or it would be invisible to me, right? Because I am not even aware that I am looking for a job, because I'm happy, I'm doing my thing, I'm engaged. Now, when an event happens, I get a new boss, or we've changed the metrics, and now whatever, something's changed, and now I've got some pain points. So now I'm like, you know what, this might not be, if this doesn't change, this might not be the place for me. So as you can imagine, the candidates that you're looking for, they all have this is called a buyer's journey. I'm going to call it a candidate journey. Every person and every job title, if you will, has a journey. And so you want to map out and do some research and figure out what this journey is. So first, they're aware of it. Oh man, I'm getting underpaid. Or you know what? I'm going to get married and start a family. I cannot do this 100% travel anymore. So they're aware they have a problem. Then they go into the consideration stage. Well, what could I do? Could I talk to my boss? Could I, you start thinking about what your options are. And then of course, you start moving over to the decision stage. You know what? I've talked to everyone who's important in my circle. I've done the research. It's time. I'm going to start looking, for my options. I'm going to actually take action. And the things, so that I'm going through this real quick. You could spend 3 days just on this, but the point is, we tend to spend all of our time as recruiters and sourcers, really, at people that are right here. In other words, we have a job opening. Hey, let's talk. Let's do a phone screen. It's very transactional, and we're already assuming that the person has gone through these stages, and we're jumping right to we're the best place to work. Click here to apply. And that turns everybody off that's not there yet. And also, when you spend most of your energy towards the decision stage, you also have a lot more competition, right? Because now you've had the phone screens or talk to the individuals, and they're like, look, I'm talking to company A, I'm talking to company B, and they're already like, what do you have for me? It's because you're too late, right? And that's why we like to say we're going after passive candidates, but really we're not. 90% of you are not going after passive candidates. You don't know how. We don't have the tools to manage all that communication and relationship nurturing. Some recruiters do it who are more relationship based. They do it old school and they keep up with people, but you can't really scale that. So the point I'm trying to make is that when in each stage, what we type into the search engine is a direct connection to what your candidates are thinking. What we type is what we are thinking. The questions we type into Google is what we are thinking. And obviously, when you start typing in things in Google already knows so many thousands of people, and in some cases hundreds of thousands of people have typed in these questions that Google is already finishing my sentence. So this is always a good indicator. If what you're looking for is not coming up, it's probably not being searched for as much. Plus, we've got tools. Marketers use tools all day long to figure out what words are being typed in. And so I want the recruiters and sourcers and leadership to start thinking like marketers. And you've heard this before with little things, like if you know you're always going to be recruiting for a certain skill set, and usually every company has a handful of core skill sets, then you need to invest the time and research and figure out what number one, you need to build personas, which is another video. You need to build these profiles of each of those candidates, and then you need to map out the journey that Jane, the front-end software engineer in San Francisco, what is her persona? In other words, what makes her tick? And I'm not just talking about basic stuff. I'm talking about going deep into research and figuring out what really drives those individuals. And I'm talking about specifically Jane, the software engineer. You're going to make a persona, and then you're going to map out at each stage what is Jane going through. So this is amazing for diversity, sourcing and recruiting, military recruiting, sourcing and recruiting, anything specific. And all recruiting should be specific. Just like they say in business now, all business is now local. All recruiting should be specific. The more general it is, the more waste of a time it is. So the big deal is understand the different, I want you to map out, and you're not going to have time for this because you're busy, but now, we're in fourth quarter, it's kind of slow. This would be an awesome exercise. Even if just like you and I did this for your hard to fill jobs, you would start seeing you making headway. And so if I'm a recruiter looking for a job, the things I type in are going to be, best places to work, recruiter salary, work from home recruiter. Okay. And then when I type those in, the search engine result pages come up. If I'm your candidate, you want to be showing up in these results. Okay. So there is a list of things that you can do to make your job description and your company blog and your videos, your YouTube videos. Why do we make videos? Why are we sharing stuff on social media? Why are we blogging? The big purpose is so when you have candidates that are just here, or maybe even you could be a pioneer and start educating your target audience on creating awareness. Instead of saying we have a job opening on LinkedIn, you could start kind of like Inception. This is Kyle, our sourcer I worked with at Zappos, who's now moved on to bigger and better things. He wanted to call us the Inceptioneers because you're planting the seed. And you started blogging and doing videos about, what is your commute? Or are you traveling too much? Top 10, if you're looking for an Android app developer, start pushing out content that is actually going to create the awareness, and then you nurture them with videos and phone calls and emails that kind of guides them through this path. And so I really wanted to go over some SEO, and because I noticed when we as an industry throw up job descriptions, we're like, what should we call it? A software engineer. Let's see. I'm gonna look real quick, and we're gonna look in the US. So this is for the word software engineer, there's 27.1 thousand times people are typing in software engineer in the US a month. Okay, and then there's 120 million results that come back. And here we could see some keywords like software engineer salary. So software engineer salary, 27,000 times that's coming up. Software salary, they've already made a decision, so they're here. You might want to do a post or a video on that just to maybe try to capture onesies and twosies, or if you are bringing your own people through the stage, if they do check, it would be nice if instead of Glassdoor reviews that you came up. Actually, you know, something like what's it like? I'm just gonna to work at let's see all these. What's it like to work at Google, Target, Amazon, Starbucks, right? So people are typing this in all the time. Now, what's it like to work there? And we could, you know, it's probably somewhere in here in the consideration stage. So this is better than salary or, you know, looking, you know, searching for keywords that are way over here. So if I were you, I would say, hey team, people are typing it in. So when I put what's it like, boy, oh boy, it's morning for me. So what's it like to work at Zappos? Who comes up first? Glassdoor. Okay. Who's number 2? Glassdoor. Who's number 3? Indeed. Who's number 4? Quora. Who's number 5? An NPR article. Who's number 6? Forbes. Who's number 7? Forbes. Who's number 8? Fortune. Number 9 is a YouTube video. It's an old one, I can tell, from 2012. It is Zappos, but it's old. And then number 10, a Las Vegas article. So, and I'm just pick Zappos, right? I'm not picking on them, whatever. But they're a pretty well-known brand, and everyone has assumed, oh, you know, big brands, they have it, you know, they have it together. A lot of brands are not spending the time. There is no job that is recruiting or sourcing SEO for most companies. There are some companies that are working on it. So wouldn't it be nice if when someone typed in this about your company, what's it like to work for it, that you came up? No one's gonna go to page 2, okay? So these are the little things that I wanna start planting the seed and maybe even doing a course on, is search engine optimization for recruiting, so that when someone is looking, as they are coming through these stages, your people, the exact people that you're looking for, you show up in the results, and then you can capture their information, and then eventually you will have your own pipeline. Sorry this went on, but if you like this video, let me know. See you later.